Vanagam and selamat datang semua. Selamat datang, selamat malam semua. My name is Nadia Ilana. I am a filmmaker but also a friend of Chui Mui. It's a great honor to be able to moderate the Q&A panel tonight for Barbarian Invasion. Without further ado, invite our director on stage and actor.
我知道，不要出声啊。
So where do we begin? I think I'll try to maybe get one of the more common question that seems to pop up a lot about this film out of the way. A lot of people are asking why it's taken 10 years in between your previous film, Year Without Summer, and this one as well. And I think that maybe I'll just say a little bit, because I met you when you first came back from China in about, was that 2014, 2015? Were you already doing martial arts then?
I did many things in between. So 2010, actually I left Malaysia and I moved to China. I worked with Jia Zhangke for like 3 years. There I make like maybe advertisement. I try to write script, but I think I have problem writing. I have a sort of like blank. I have a lot of ideas but no writing, and I started writing micro short stories every day in China for like 2-3 years. So in China actually the people know me more as a writer who write short stories. I left China and start traveling around. Like every month I moved to a new city. I started with like in France and a few places in Europe, and then back to a lot of places in Thailand. So indeed in 2014 I did like stay 2 months in Chiang Mai. I was in outside of Chiang Mai, like Merim, where Api Chapong was, and I did like 1 month of Muay Thai, like every day 3 hours training. At the time was just because when I was kid, my father used to say, if you want to fight in the street, Muay Thai is the one that's the most practical one. Was more like a tourist thing, like the tourists go to Thailand, you try out Muay Thai, and they will even arrange fight for you and things like that. That was my first experience of martial art. When I came back, I did join like a local gym, like also Muay Thai. Then I started learning a bit of Jiu-Jitsu, but I stopped. Like I did maybe 2-3 months. So only 2 years ago, I start again, almost at the same time when I was writing this film. So the thing sort of came together. Yeah. But as a kid that grew up during 80s, because of all the Hong Kong film influence, also it started with the TV series and the wuxia genre. We are very much, I grew up with all these very romantic wuxia idea and martial art.
Yeah, no, it's incredible to see, because I mean, being the director and then the actor for this film, you're watching this film where the character Moon itself had only trained for 1 month, and there's so many different ways and layers to, I think, watch you in this film as the director, as a script writer, but and as a very convincing actor. I mean, the thing that I love the most about this film is your energy, just generally, and how you just shine on the screen. And it is, I think that I kind of wondered at one point, does your discipline, practicing martial arts, help with being present on camera? There's a lot of philosophy in martial arts as well, and we see a lot of that within the film too.
I think someone who really showed that is Bruce Lee. One of his famous quotes is, actually it was also hanging on the wall of Master Law, is like, be honest to yourself or express yourself. And that was something I keep asking for a long time, like what he mean, be honest to yourself, and what is yourself and what is self, or what he mean express yourself when he's talking about martial art. So one of the scene was actually inspired by that, like to what it means express yourself in martial art. I think it talk about the self like a very primitive self, the self that just want to survive. There's no lying, no cheating. It's totally honest. So that is the scene when Moon asks Master Lo, what is myself, or how to express myself, and Master Lo just give him a very Zen master answer. That's like a very Zen teaching, like you just hit your student. But I think for me that is the real answer. Like that is the answer to what is self is you have a self, like there's no separation of body and mind. You just want to avoid pain. So when you get punched, the next time you just want to avoid, and that is maybe it's like instinct or a survival thing, but that is the first self we have. So yeah. So that's with the martial art, and expressing yourself is more like you have to respond timely. You are always like interacting with a real situation, and you respond to it. You hope you respond it right, and you respond it in time. That is maybe the most martial art thing. Yeah. But the thing that helped me in the 10 years, I went to France for a clown workshop. So maybe that somehow also helped me to play comedy. But that was like in year 2012 or 2013. I did like a summer clown workshop in France.
Okay, so now it makes sense why your t-shirt says LOL when you're going through that sort of like was it the meditation with Manu Manyam as well. And I really like that because I didn't understand it the first time I watched it, but then I really like the choice of shirt after all, because as much as you put yourself into it and there's a seriousness about it, you also, that says that you're not taking yourself extremely seriously at that point. And there are a lot of role reversals in this film. I was like counting them just now, I was getting so confused. At first I was like, there are a lot of directors in this film and behind this film. Yeah, because Pete is also actor, producer, and he's directed as well, right? And he's playing a director who is directing you, but you're the one who discovered him a long time ago. So that parlay between you feels very real. And then you have Ming Jin, who's your producer, but he's also acting in this. Putri Purnama Sugua has a like small cameo in this. But I was trying to understand ultimately also why the last shot was there. Why you chose to have Pete, and is it because like Pete as the director is actually you? Okay, how did you come to that? So, but yeah, you are right. I think from the first when I talked to Pete, the director he played, we already talked about he will be my alter ego. He's playing me, the director. Of course, not like 100% me. I also mixed a bit of my other director's friends. So he has a bit of Ming Jin, he has a bit of maybe Seng Tat or a few other Southeast Asian filmmakers that I know. But in the end, he's still me, and like his intention or in the end, the ending scene is me coming back, like my final or my closing of the whole thing. So I would see myself as the director more than the actress, of course, in the film. And it's true, like the behind the scene, a lot of the crew or also the cast, they are directors. So like the soundman is our CD, the assistant director. Yeah.
Yeah. So my assistant director is Putri, and actually we almost cast you. No, we entered you to be the singer in the pub to sing the Terang Bulan, but we didn't have the budget, so we just have our intern to do that. No, we didn't. We don't have like money to travel many people across. Also, like because of the lockdown and all that, we cut down. We try to cut down people. Yeah, but I do like this thing, like having friends in the film, and like many years later, we can still see them in the film. Yeah. It's okay. I should have, but I didn't insist. We were like cutting down budget. Would have been nice. It's quite. I think from the beginning, it's always like a group of friends making film together. So the whole film is really like gathering of all friends, and also the new friends, like all these young filmmakers that I met in the past few years, and I also have them in the project. It's very much like I don't know, the whole process is very enjoyable when you just work with friends.
Do we have any questions from the floor? Oh. Oh, it's a wave. Okay. Sure. Yes. Any question here?
Hi, I'd like to say that I've fallen for this movie. I think it's really great. And I've had so many questions to ask, now I'm blanking out. But I guess one thing that I did want to ask is about the choice of Terang Bulan as the song in the pub. Because I don't want to be the guy who reads too much into symbolism or whatever. But I know Terang Bulan sounds a lot like Negaraku, and because the movie itself makes itself deliberate that many ethnicities and backgrounds are involved, especially refugees, Southeast Asian, Malaysian, all sectors of that. So was the choice for Terang Bulan to reflect that particular theme in the film, or was it just like it sounds cool because it's in a jazz lounge? And I don't know. This is my question.
I think Nadira read my script, and at the time I already put like in the scene someone is singing Terang Bulan. Actually, it was the singer supposed to be you. And then she told me it's by coincidence her short film also was using the song, but I think for a different reason. For me, there was a few things, but Terang Bulan, the thing that attracted me the most is the lyrics, because it's like talking about men who sweet talk women, but actually they are not committed and things like that, and it's a way of this love relationship. But it wasn't so straightforward. In the beginning, I was thinking of a few other Malay songs, and there was also like, because of the genre or the feeling, I also thought, oh, maybe Pengawan Solo or that type of more like this atmosphere of song. But Terang Bulan, I thought the lyrics fit for these two characters when they walk in, and it was free, so it fit our budget. Yeah, that's mainly the reason. You want to talk about why you used Terang Bulan?
Mine was a totally different thing. I actually sort of almost really wish that I could have been a part of this film, because I did use Terang Bulan for my last short film, Were the Sun and the Moon to Meet, and I sang it as well. So I was like, maybe a bit, it would have been cool to just do both, but that's greedy. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm Eddie from Portal question is, you're directing this movie and also writing the script, story, maybe screenplay as well. But I just want to know why also you acted, as the lead role, because to direct, to write, and to also acting at the same time, it's not an easy job. I know it's tiring, but I just want to know from your point of view, is it because this role is very, very important or very close to you?
So this is the part, me, my producer, also my colleague with PTO, we discuss a lot, like the danger of it, like by me acting in my own film, it will be a vanity project, and how do we play this nicely, because it's either be very interesting or it can be total disaster. The interesting part will be the film is about me, the director or the writer, the one who created the film, talking about self and talking about looking for myself or want to discuss about what is this self, and to have myself going through or playing this actually add another layer. It is quite hard to play with these layers of the director playing the actress who is looking for herself, going through the martial art training and reclaiming her body. It have different. It will have different. It will give you a different understanding. If I use a professional actress, of course there was a few times I was tempted to just use a professional actress. It will be so much easier for me to direct. So the choice I was thinking would be like Yo Yan Yan or Li Xingjie and their mother, and they are also like award-winning actress, or especially Yo Yan Yan, she have acted in an action film before. She could do those action, but then it will mean less for me. So for me, it is still a self project, and it's a bit dangerous to say this, but for me, my intention or the part that I want to reclaim my life or my body, or to ask the question about who is myself, is more important than the film. So that's maybe more of me as a director. For me, the intention or my life or the thing I want to do itself is more important than whether the film is good or not. So for me, I going through the martial art training or the actress going through the martial art training is totally different thing. It totally means differently, and I going through the process myself is the only way. So now the question will be, then will the film be good if I'm acting? So this is the part I have to talk to my producer and my actor, and that's the part that I have to very committed, like to go through the training, and yeah. The hardest part, not the martial art, but actually is the acting. I enjoy the martial art training a lot.
I wonder, sorry, I have another question. You know, that journey of you going through the process, did you get the answer? What was the finding?
The scene where you see the actress Moon walking on the water as if she found or she achieved enlightenment or something, but halfway through the frame she got stopped, right? And then we realized it's not true, and she's still just an actress, and then she still have to deal with her love relationship problem, and no, it's not solved. And then again, in the end, the film director, like the film is done, everyone's packing and leaving, and then there's just this emptiness, which you can say I completed something, or I sort of completed a journey, or I went through something, but it's not like I found the answer, but we start with a question, and the question lead to another question, and another, but it's just that it bring you to a right direction, or a deeper understanding of life, but I don't have an answer in the end. So the last frame where he just go through the movement of Musashi again, and then he just threw it away, and it's still open. There's no real answer yet. That's me.
My last question.
Sure.
The fight scene, that was very interesting because it was so intense. I just want to know whether do you use double take in that scene, or is that a real fight? And did you really get hurt? I mean, like wounded and all that? Because that looks
The
so
jetty
real.
scene. So at first we were getting an action director from Singapore, but because of the lockdown, we have to cancel. But he did train me a bit, Sunny Pang from Singapore. But later it was James Lee who's the action director, and he trained. So for the action scene, of course, there's no real impact, and it's all design. So I mean, some you have like just a touch, but a lot of it is just reaction acting. So there's no like real injury. So like the punching of the nose and all those things, just acting, just like you just move back or that type of thing, and with a lot of shots and editing. So yep. So we have action director for that, and also like a fight choreographer to design all these movement. And those actors, they are also like stuntmen, so they know how to act. These are the harder part, like to act as if you get punched or you get kicked. And
Yeah, so I mean that's one thing that I find, what I have learned as a director watching this film as well. A lot of filmmakers have sometimes filmmakers, or storytellers, artists, we make art, we make fiction that is fantasy, and often we are running away from ourselves. And in this one, it almost really is a little bit like Kung Fu, in the sense that we were saying that if you want to do Kung Fu, like it looks like 1 year, you have to train for 1 year, and you should also utilize everything that you have. And I think that you really did utilize everything that you have in the martial arts training to all your friends, and I mean including them to do this. I don't think I can get Amr Muhammad to do my subtitles. But watching the film, I wrote about it on Instagram a little bit, just telling people about the film. And I was still gestating at the time, like, what is this film really about? And I realized that it's also partly because I'm not married. Like, I've never had a kid before. This is something that, a story that only you can tell from that experience. And then one of my friends from KK actually commented. She said, "Oh, I need to watch this film so badly." And I realized that she's a lot like the main character, because she is a young mother who has gone through a divorce. Her son is the same age as Yuzo as well, and she had to go through this very long process of self-discovery and training through marathons and things like that. So I find it really amazing that it's such a courageous thing to really deep dive and put all of yourself out there, and then suddenly it's not a vanity project so much, that it really does mirror so many people's lives in that way. So I think that's pretty amazing. I mean, whether was did you give that too much thought about like how people were going to take this film? You mentioned about it being a risk, the risk of it being a vanity project.
I think this is something I learned quite young from literature and all that, is when you go very personal, when you go very deep, actually it resonates with more people, because you will find people like, oh, finally someone said it out, or someone. So there are things that no one ever said or no one talk about, but actually a lot of others that feel the same, but they couldn't find films or literature or song to pour out the feeling. That's why we need poetry, we need songs, because sometimes we have feeling inside and you don't know how to describe, and then you hear a song or something, you're like, that's exactly how I feel, and someone said it. So with artwork and film, that's the thing we also hope to create, but it will only happen when you go deep in yourself. Yeah, and it is quite common, like if you are just writing or art, you are using yourself as a material, but for film it's hard because you have to convince your investor or your funder when you want to make a personal film. It's not like I'm writing a book or I just write a poetry or something. So it's harder to find very personal film. You can get, but it's much less. Yeah, it's quite hard to say now with all type of TikTok or YouTube. Personal. But yeah, I think it is one of the things that if we look inside and really tell a very personal story, you find a lot of people who come to you. I already met like people come and say, wow, that's really what I've been through, or that's very inspiring, or yeah, things like that.
Thanks. Any more questions? If you can introduce your name, please.
Hi, my name is Zim. I just like movies. So I have two questions really. The first one is the more obvious one that I probably missed, but I need to ask anyway. The choice behind the name Barbarian Invasion. And when you were picking that title, were you aware that it was deliberately vague and not really about what the movie is about, but maybe it's about the film that you're shooting? I don't know. I just want to hear that thought process. And secondly is I think you mentioned before that it took 10 years to write this, or at least this movie has come out 10 years after your previous one. And because this movie is so personal, I would assume that a large portion of the writing is you simply living your life and gathering all these experiences. And I'm just wondering, how long did it take for you to actually come up with the story? Like, which parts of your life do you take? Which parts of your personal self do you take? And how long was that process? And was it a very lonely process, or were all of your friends involved in every part of it, considering it was personal? So two of those questions. First is the title. Secondly, it's from experience to story. Thank you.
Yeah, Barbarian Invasion. I think I was in high school and I read this book, and there was a quote inside, and it's like every birth of a child is an invasion of a barbarian to our civilization. And I thought it was interesting because yeah, it's true, like every time there's a new human come and then they break something or they change something, they come with new eye, and yeah. So but when I have kids, for 3 years, I keep remember this phrase, like, that's the barbarian invasion. And later I find out the quote is from Hannah Arendt, this German philosopher, and she actually said, the original quote is a bit different. It's like every civilization is constantly invaded by the barbarian, and we call them children, something like that. after a while, I actually thought the kids came in with like very pure and clean eye or soul or mind, but we are the one who pollute them, and probably we are the barbarian. So it's two ways. So I won't say who is the barbarian, and for many society, barbarian is just the outsider, like people who we cannot understand them, we don't know their language, and we just say whatever they talk sounds like Baba. I don't know. So it's usually mean the others or people who we don't understand. But for me, the title don't always need to be like explain the story or something. I can totally divert from that. So like my first film is called Love Conquers All, but it means something. I mean, it is Love Conquers All, but it's not the usual story. Or my second film is Year Without a Summer. Also, it could be just like something that started the project, but later maybe it's not so direct. Okay, the second question. No, I didn't take 10 years to write this or what, but the project started only like 2 years ago in 2019 when my friend asked if I want to take this challenge, like to make a film with very low budget, like for me it's more like a game. He invited 6 directors and each was given like 600,000 ringgit to make a film. For China, it's like impossible. They think this is too low. But for Malaysia, I think yeah, it's a comfortable budget, and we also got a grant from FINAS. So the film was made under 1 million ringgit, and at the time when I started was more like a mockumentary film idea. But when I met with Meng Jin, at the time I had maybe 10 pages of script. We sit down together every once or twice a week to work on the script, and also with PTO. So I would say they help me a lot in like changing the character or helping with the structure of the script. So yeah, the whole process was with a lot of friends involved. It wasn't, at least this project, it wasn't lonely from the beginning. It was all started with friends, and it was a lot of jokes, and then it became I forgot the LOL. There are two of course. I'm always joking, and the whole film, the idea started from a joke. So it's even the director Roger also say like quite often the greatest inspiration came from a joke, and that was how the film is. And for me, it's always like just kidding, but also serious. So so it's like I tell you something, then I'm like just kidding, but actually I meant it. So it's this. Yes, but this is true. If you know me, I'm like that. It's a joke, but I really mean it. That's the LOL. So that's like, just in case you don't get this is a joke. But it's also serious. I laugh at it, but I also take it seriously. But of course, the T-shirt is funnier because it was also the jokes about the assassination of Kim Jong Nam in our airport. Yeah, so there's also a bit of reference of that. But it in the end it's no, that's so yeah, it's that's not funny. Yeah, please, our friend, they need help. And yes. So that's the tone of the film. There's actually a lot of it was joke, and some of the conversation is true. Some is even real. so bad. I revealing so much of myself. So it's even real. Like my friend, they will tease at me like, Mui, I don't get your taste. You date like what 30 men or something. So that was how Wu Mengjin talked to me. So as a joke, I put those in. It's actually his line. Yeah. Mui, I don't understand. So some part of Roger was actually Wu Mengjin, like some of the line or the conversation. Yeah. So it's a mix of a lot of things I put in, people I know. So it's not totally just me, but a lot of friends are in or mixed in those character or incidents.
No, I was just asking then who's the inside joke in this? What's the inside joke?
I'm always the one that people make fun of. So I have like a few good friends, a few best friends, and like they are filmmaker like Wu Mengjin, Liu Singtat, and Aditya Sarat. When they sit down together, they just make fun of me. I mean, without my presence. So they'll be like, "What's Mui doing now? Oh, she's probably somewhere making a very bad decision." So basically, that's me.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so we do have to wrap things up now. Thank you so much, everybody, for the Q&A. So just to summarize a little bit, I think like the title Barbarian Invasion, even though initially the thought behind it was that you give birth to a child and the child maybe takes over your world, but I see the film differently in the sense where usually when we see sort of like women regaining their identities, it involves a makeover and she gets the guy at the end. And this film completely turns that on its head, and it's you kicking ass, which is not like your typical female role. I think this film has given us a lot to aspire to, and I think it gives people a lot of thought about how do we look at ourselves, not just through our own lens, but with the help of our friends. So I just want to say thank you again so much for the film, and everybody, if you can, please talk about it, tell people about it, and do you want to tell them how they can watch the film, or I mean how other people can watch the film?
Actually, we only have tomorrow and Saturday left. Probably they can still get tickets. I would say for people who haven't watched, it's better they don't know anything. So tell them not to watch review, and you should not tell them the stories. It's nicer to come in like without knowing what the film is about. Yeah, that's the only thing I want to say.
With that, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Good night.